Good morning, traders. Who's ready to get after it today? We got another bright day right here. We're ready to get after the market. We'll be taking a look to see what else is out in the market right now. Let's take a look. Let's try to find some trades. CPI coming in, and that's really shaking things up. So let's talk all about that. We're getting a nice little spike right this second. Let's take a look at the action here. I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen, and you guys can see CPI coming in right on the estimate. So that came in line, which is helping the markets right now. But I'm going to tell you about something that I think could happen today. So keep an eye out on the market, guys. We'll see what happens. Definitely take a look at some of the top movers. But CPI, you guys can see it there, 0.3 versus the 0.3 estimate, 0.2 prior. Then we take a look at the core CPI. Core CPI coming in at 0.3. The year over year at 3.3 versus a 3.3 estimates. All the numbers pretty much in line. And when they're in line, that's something definitely to think about, right? So we'll see what happens there. SPY getting that push up. If in line means essentially that the estimates were right on the hammer, and that shows that inflation is coming down, maybe not as fast as some wanted, but it's still coming down. I mean, at 2.7 now, we're trying to get back to, of course, the 2%, or how they say it, a sustained 2%. Right. So maybe even further down than 2% is really what they're trying to get to. Now the SPY getting a little lift here, and so is the Qs. And I think that this is something that we can watch. Will this rally get faded on? That's what I'm thinking today. And I'm going to be looking to see what happens on. But right now we have this nice little upside that's going to help names like Google that were strong yesterday. Ooh, actually down on Google. That's not good news. Apple pushing strong. Amazon, let's take a look here. Starting to get the move over the 226. So if you're seeing stocks make a move right now, this is what it's going. It's moving off the CPI, and the CPI has a tendency of making that action, that first kind of action, and then a pullback. So let's see what happens now. Right? We're getting this nice little lift into the market. I'll be watching on a 15-minute basis now to see if when we get to the market, are we somewhere in this space? This is where we found some resistance in the past. This is where I think we're heading right now. And then once we get up there, will we make a pullback right back down? That's the sign of concern for the bears, or for the bulls. We'll see what happens there. The SPY doing pretty well as it continues to lift. 605.19 now. We can take a look at some different stocks in the market. Let's get to it. We'll talk about the Sunrise report. We'll talk about what's moving out there, different plays that I'm looking at, and of course, the Fed focus, right? The Federal Reserve is expecting to cut rates next week by a quarter point on my birthday. They're trying to cut rates on my birthday. We'll cut them bigger. I want to buy a house. But yeah, that's just my thinking out there. But 0.3 monthly rise in both headline and core CPI for November is something to look at, right? So we did get that 0.3 rise. It was a move up, but it was a slight move. So we don't have to stress too much about that. No major surprises came in. Macy's is something that we can talk about. So let's go ahead. Let's kick off the Sunrise report. We'll talk a little bit more about the action that's going on in the market. We'll take a look at some stocks that you guys are watching. What are you guys looking at in the market? Throw it up in the chat. Let's kick things off. Let's go with the Sunrise report. All right, so traders, if you're wondering why Macy's is down, of course, they reported their Q3 earnings here, EPS of 4 cents, beating the 3 cent estimate. Sales of 4.74 billion, beat the 4.72 billion estimate. Full year 24 sales outlook at 22.3 billion to 22.5 billion, slightly raised there. Their EPS guidance, though, trimmed here to 225 and 250 from a 234 and 269 outlook. So definitely bringing down that guidance in the EPS, hurting Macy's here. They also finally addressed the 151 million in hidden delivery expenses by an employee. I mean, come on, guys. You got to be kidding me. So you're telling me that your CFO couldn't find this hidden delivery expense before this? That's a real sign of concern. I don't know, man, but the CFO is definitely getting some calls to the CEO's desk. So Tony Spring, he addressed it on the call, but I think in the long run, it's definitely something and I'd be a little bit scared of if I was the CFO, because that's his job, right? Literally, that's his job to make sure that the finances and the expenses are all kind of meeting the line, right? And there you go. We'll see what happens there. Macy's is a disaster story waiting to happen. I've always talked about it. Macy's will probably, in my eyes, be the next J.C. Penney, or you can call it Sears, whatever you want to call it. It's probably disappearing. General Motors, let's talk a little bit about that one, as their shares are jumping here nearly 3%. I have no idea why this is an actual lift in the market, but we'll see what happens here as General Motors is pushing up as it halted its Cruise robo-taxi development. This is actual negative news in my eyes, but in here they're getting a little bit of a lift. They said they're shifting their focus to advanced driver assistance and autonomous systems for personal vehicles. I think that's completely right in the autonomous systems for personal vehicle move. The advanced driver assistance was just thrown in there to add something else to make it look sexy. They're already working on those advanced driver's assistance, and those are kind of natural. Those are moves into safety that will clearly keep them in. They've already have some of those. I'm sure you guys have seen it, like kind of the lane assist things. That's your advanced driver's assistance. But one thing I think is important here is General Motors essentially giving up the robo-taxi area to saying that, hey, Elon, you probably got its beat on this area, and Google, you probably got its beat with Waymo. So guess what? We're not going to compete with Google and Tesla on this. We're going to go focusing more towards our personal vehicles and making sure that we're at least selling those. And they're bracing for a really tough 2025. So we'll see what happens with General Motors. Has been doing well on the daily, but to me, I think in the long run, I think General Motors comes crashing right back down. We'll see what happens there. Let's move over now to Play as we talk a little bit about Dave and Buster's. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been to Dave and Buster's recently. I know I haven't. I took my nephew to do some little go-karting and things like that, but not Dave and Buster's. Let me know in the chat. Have you guys been to Dave and Buster's recently? How's it looking? I'll tell you one thing. Last time I went to Dave and Buster's was a while back, but the lack of employees was definitely apparent to me. And the lack of employees just is not a good sign, man. In the long run, customer service is much needed at places like this, right? This is a place where you want to feel a good vibe. Like, let's say if you go to a bowling alley, and for that, I'll mention Bolero, right? Bolero, I actually like probably more than Play, right? Because at least there, they know how to run the business. They know that it's about customer service. And believe it or not, Bolero is kind of profitable. It's interesting, but that's the bowling alleys. I don't know if you guys have seen Bolero, but Play, hard move to the downside before this earnings report. Let's talk about what's going on here. So they plunged at 9% after reporting a Q3 loss of 84 cents per share, missing the expectation of a 37-cent loss. Oh, good Lord. Things are worse than they seem, guys. Revenues falling short of $453 million versus a $466 million estimate. CEO Chris Morris is stepping down. That's not good news. I'm telling you guys, I think this is more to do with the way that the environment has been in Dave & Buster's. And it's always had some struggle. Do we go after the adults and play? Do we go after the kids? Some parents like it because you can go there and have a drink compared to, let's say, a Chuck E. Cheese, right? You ain't getting no drinks at Chuck E. Cheese's. Let's be honest. But we'll see what happens here with Dave & Buster's. Can it break the support? The support's right underneath it here. Doesn't look good for Dave & Buster's here, even though this is generally a good time to see these stocks get a lift. We'll see if it breaks this big time support. We're talking monster support here. Like, this has been here for a long time. Now, you might be breaking this and moving back towards the pandemic, as they just seem to struggle and cannot find the way around it. All right, that's Play there. Let's move forward. Let's go towards GEV as we take a look at the GE spinoff, right, which is GE Vernova. And of course, this is in what? the small nuclear reactors, guys. This stock is sliding after it issued weaker than expected revenue guidance for the full year of 24 and full year 25. The company introduced a 25-cent though share dividend and a $6 billion buyback plan. So in the long run, I think this is one to look for some pullback, right? Like this has done an amazing job. It has split out. It split out in April, and it made a move that was massive. I mean, this is 132%. So what I'd be looking for is from the breakout here, can it do a 50% retracement? 50% retracement puts it all the way back around 250. And then I'll look at the sweet spot. I usually like to look between the 50 and the 61.8. So that's going to be towards 250s and all the way back down to 230s on GEV. So this is one that you could maybe play for a short right now. We'll see what happens. It is in a good space, though. That's one thing that I'll note. It's more like your NNE, but a bigger company, right? So I think this is one to watch in the long run. It's definitely something that got a lot of investors to jump in right when this thing spun off. So it's something to keep in mind. And GE's done really great overall. So now that's starting to turn. You got to be careful. We're starting to see some weakers in the industrial space, and XLI has been pulling back here. It's something to think about, right? Because the defensive names are also pulling back significantly. I think this has more to do with Trump, but you do have still your farm and heavy construction still making big moves to the upside. All right, guys, that's going to do it for, of course, the Sunrise Report. We can talk about the playbook and see what's on the playbook. But to tell you the truth, a big part of it is going to be just KMX, because the other two plays are not going to be important, at least for the time being, the way that the market's trading. Like always, I always tell you guys how it is. I'm looking for this market to get up here or up into that box, or maybe just touching that line there and then making a move right back down. And then that's when I'm going to be watching to see if we go into some more red. And what would be those plays if we do go red? That's actually a turnaround right back down on Tesla. I've been talking about Tesla for a breakout from the 350 spot. It made a move to 409 now, but starting to slow down and showing me wicks on the top side. I'm looking for one more wick on the top side and then a red candle coming right back down towards 400. So we'll see what happens right now. Trading around 410, could do a little pop out the gates and then the drop. We'll see what happens there in Tesla for the short side of things, right? But I'm also going to talk about a play that I've been talking about for a long time. This is more of your swing trade, but more of one of my top plays for 2025. And I've been talking about this for a while now. Created this line on November 1st, right? And so November 1st was right here, way before we started to look at this breakout. And why was I looking at this? Because I just thought about it, and I can think about this in a really clear sense. At the end of the day, this is a play that I can see just making sense with the new environment that we're in. It was on a nice longer-term trend line bottom. Now you're up at the top end of the resistance. Could start breaking out and going into the box, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. Do we go into that box? Created this on the October 17th, looking for the breakout into that area. Can we get it, guys? We'll see what happens there on KMX. And one thing that we saw today, we got some statistics to back this up. Used car sales, are as tracked by Mayhem, saw their largest monthly increases since July, rising 1.3% in November. Buyers seem to be stepping in around the 84 spot on KMX. So that's where I'd be watching for this to hold right now. And you can see there, that's around the 9 EMA. So now we're attempting to make that move to 90 and break above this 87.98. It's a good looking play here. And I think this is one to watch also. I think Carvana could pull back, though. That's one thing that could ruin this trade. Right now, it has pulled back to the lower end of the Bollinger Band. We'll see if Carvana can just hold on here and just keep kind of just trending up higher. In the long run, I would love to also play Carvana on a pullback, but I needed to come back some more for me to kind of play this. I'd be closer towards the 200. All right, that's going to do it for that outlook. Let's kick things off. Let's really get into the trading action now. It's time to go trading, guys. It's TTP Live. Kick things off. Countdown. Let's go, Michael. Let's go make some money.
wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
All right, team. How we doing out there, traders? We'll take a look into the scanner, see if anything's big is moving out there, but not looking too bad. And we're getting some action out there. There's some stocks that are moving. I did see this SHLT this morning. Let's take a look at it now, see how it's trading. Not doing much, but hey, starting to lift a little bit. I wouldn't really be focusing on this one. It needs to kind of make a bigger move right now. CADL is one that I was watching this earlier, and I was looking at that nice little breakout above the 10s and 11s. That's up there towards 13 now, is just up there a couple of times. I'd keep this one on a 15-minute. It seems like that's what it's trading on right now, and you can see the sideways action here and how it's pretty much finding some resistance at around the 1283s and has pulled back all the way back down to the 990s. So there's a big range on this stock, and it's going to be important for it to kind of really hold this 15-minute candle. If not, if it breaks the 9 EMA, you got to be careful for the cut down, especially below 10. We'll see what happens on CADL. I'm seeing one move right now, AMPG. So let's take a look at that one. It's at 148 right now, getting the lift there from the 110 now towards 150. This is a nice little spike there. So you look at it in the 1 minute, nice couple of attempts to go higher, went towards the breakout, pulls back, holds the pullback, right? You're seeing what? One area of pullback, two areas of pullback. That's that third area of pullback. Now I'd look for I usually look for an engulfing candle on the upside, something like that, some bullish candle showing me that. Now you're getting that lift above the 145. Let's see if it can keep on moving. All right, guys. Now, there is one name that I missed in the trading talk yesterday, but I did mention it. I just didn't watch it on the trading action. And look at the action yesterday in RGTI. This was about the picture that I talked to you guys about, the quantum picture. This was included in that NVIDIA conversation. And look at the day it had yesterday. Crazy, crazy day, guys. This opened up at 4:30, made a move to the high. It was a 60% move there in Rigetti Computing yesterday. And QSI is another name that was included in that image. And then I also told you guys it was IonQ also. So we'll see what happens with these names. But that also told me to keep an eye to see if there's any more mentions of Amazon with that, with nanonuclear and names like that. Quantum computing is being mentioned a lot with Amazon, NVIDIA, Google right now. I think you're going to see even more mentions. Maybe you start seeing Microsoft talk about it more. And of course, Google yesterday was really hot. It's pulling back right now. That's interesting because the Qs, of course, did do that spike. So we'll be watching to see what happens with the action. Now we're starting to get the pullback, and I'm going to be watching to see what happens, of course, towards 9:30. But like I talked about, I a lot of times the SPY does these spikes, does a couple of runs, and then starts to fail. I hope it doesn't fail before the open. I would love to see this kind of continue up, trending towards the open, and then we'll see how you play. The big part of that is just the psychology of the trade, right? A lot of times you can get the bulls kind of caught off guard by just rising the market. And essentially, what does it do? It makes it look like we're going to have a big breakout day, right? And so the bulls get too excited. They start buying the open, and then they flush them. How can they do this? The simple example, like just thinking hedge fund, like, right? Hey, if I long, let's say $1 million on this CPI report, get the lift up here towards around the 605. Let it rip up towards like maybe 606, and then come in with not only a sell to sell that 1 million, but a 2 million short order on top of it, right? So I'm going to sell that out, and then I'm going to put it on top of that. I'm going to go short 2 million shares or $2 million, right? Well, that's exactly how they do it to us a lot of the times, right? That's how the big money makes money, guys. They can just shake you one way and then just completely wreck the other way. This is how it happens a lot of the times. This is why we need to be nimble as retail traders. And what does that mean? Just being flexible, willing to let go of a play, keep playing it, maybe flip. You have to be able to be flexible. To be able to flip is so important. All right, we'll see what else is out there, guys. AMPG now up there towards 160. So good looking action on that name. All right, guys, just give me one quick second. I'll be right back with you guys. I'm going to play a little bit of a music here to keep you guys going. And of course, I'll put up a scanner to watch the action here. It won't take longer than a minute, guys. I'll be right back. All right, traders, let's get back to the action here, guys. All right, guys, so I had to grab a jersey right quick because I got to run over this market today. Let's see what we can find today, guys. I'm going to be looking to see if there's any other plays. The small plays, I'll be honest, guys, I've been taking a little bit of on the sideline with the small plays. They've been running me over in the limited account. The small limited account is almost deleted on, guys. I think pretty much done. I'll be as honest as I can be. Look at this trade this morning. Got run over for 354 on ABVC. And it was a nice setup. It was starting to get into the green, but this thing just turned around on me. And this is how quickly it is, guys. You know, one of the things is, you know, this one was a penny name and I should have maybe like stuck off of it, but overall, the way that the setup wasn't that bad. I got in there at the first little spike there on this little pullback to the 65. It went to the 80, and I was like, man, 80? I'm good here, guys. I have this pretty set there. It was close to like a $300 winner, and maybe should have just taken that off. But instead, I added on the pullback and then just got wiped out on this cut down towards the 55. So just saying that the penny names haven't been working out, and that's just the way it is. But that's why I separate the accounts, right? In my main account here, I try my best not to trade those penny names. And the big reason why is I try to be into some more higher quality names. And it's very important for me, guys. So let's see what happens right now, guys. It's going to continue to battle here. Looking around to see what's making a move here. Seeing Marvell Marvell being a name that's been talked about, of course. It had some good earnings, and it's been making a nice little up move. Could continue today. Pull back to the 9 EMA. Really nice setup here, guys. So if we're going to have a bullish day, we also need to have plays that are for the bull play. Bull play here, Marvell, one of those that definitely could have a nice little lift. It's Clean Spark and those Bitcoin names. I think we're ready to start at least doing another drive. So, of course, the Bitcoin thing is going to be a little bit back and forth before the end of the year, but I'd keep an eye out on these names today. Another area to kind of watch, of course, Nano Nuclear has been pulling back. So this is one stock that I could watch today to see if we can start to get a lift again. It has pulled back a pretty good amount. So it's a tough one to trade here because also SMR is on the pullback. When will they catch the dip? When will it be far enough down where they can catch some buyers is something to think about. All right, and I'm looking at the Qs. We're still up there at the 523.50s and just holding on there. So let's see what happens there. It's 9 a.m., guys. We still got about 30 minutes before the bell. So there's a lot to take a look at here. We can take a look at some other names. QURE, one of the top movers yesterday. I'm going to be watching this today to see if we get maybe a flush down. You know, one of the things that I think is important on these penny names is not losing track of them when they're on the downside on day 2 or day 3. Those are the days where I feel like are the easy shorts on day 2 or day 3. So just keep your eyes on QURE today. It's definitely one of the top plays yesterday. Had over what was it? 62 million shares traded yesterday. And today, how many shares? Only 191,000. What does that tell me? Probably that the buyers are not stepping up in this. If anything, shorters are watching this. They're just waiting for the breakdown. Let's see what happens with those names. And of course, Rigetti, names like that had the monster move yesterday and have had pretty much a monster move for a while now. These have been breaking out. These are quantum plays. And we gotta watch that to see if Google can continue going, right? And of course, Google did a huge jump, so it could be maybe just making a little bit of a pullback. But it's a sign to me today to watch what happens there in Google. Apple, of course, has been the monster move, guys. It's up there towards 250. I remember when I first started talking about that Apple could start catching off of this red line, and that as long as it held that, we'd be looking good. That was on the 22nd. That was right here when we started to break above this 230s, and we were looking for Apple to start the run. Look at the run it's been on since that 230. It's been a hell of a move, and this is when I think about it all the time. This is a swing trade to me, and these are the best types of trades for me because this is just riding the trend higher. What has it been? Yeah, it pulls back to the 9, but as long as it can hold that light blue line, you run with the swing and you hold the name. This is why I got to get back to some really good swing trading action. That's what I'm going to be working on a little bit more. Hey, stay tuned for next year, guys. I think there's going to be some big moves in the swing trading game. All right, guys, we'll see what happens there. Marvell, AVGO, two names that are making moves, and both semiconductors that are interesting charts. I like these charts. They're set up good on the upside. So I would be watching these if we're going to have a bullish day, right? And so it's a back and forth, right? We don't know. But Micron had a nice red day yesterday that actually gave us an opportunity. I was watching this yesterday, and you got the fake out to the downside now. I think it's a fake out because you got a lot of volume coming in on that move. So yes, you did catch some bulls yesterday. Now do you go right back up towards the 105? You just got to keep an eye on it right here. I think definitely it needs to get back up there to 115 to really look bullish. But right now, it's trying to reverse off of this trend line and see if it can start to work back up here. So if it comes back to 105 today, don't be too surprised on Micron. I'll be looking at it to see if it really gets going above the 100. All right, Q's doing that rip, guys, and this is what I kind of wanted to see. So it's ripping right now into these resistance levels, and I'm going to look to see if at the gates we actually start to get a pullback. Why? Because it has a tendency of making sense. I've seen the CPI do this before, where it rips, open, rips a little higher, and then the floor drops out. Or the floor can just drop out at the gates. So I'll be watching it. Right now, bullish action, guys, bullish action. We'll see if the bears come in at the open. Honeywell, showing up on the tape there. Honeywell not looking too bad on the chart. Chart's looking pretty decent there. on an industrial name. But hey, we'll see what happens with this one. This one looks like a kind of a trend move that's just catching the 90 MA, going for another lift, trying to break through the resistance, which is right above it, 233s. So Honeywell, not a bad looking name. Of course, this one broke above the highs and now pulled back. It's trying to break the highs again. It's not a bad little setup there on Honeywell, especially on the weekly. Weekly, you can see that 225 held really well. Now it's trying to recover. All right, we'll see what happens on some other names. AMPG, of course, was one that was moving just a little while ago. We watched it break the 150. Now it's up there towards almost 190. So it did touch 190s, I think right here, 191. So nice little trend. It held the 90 MA the whole time. Pullbacks to the 9 have a tendency of showing us momentum and good looking action there on the charts. All right, what's going on out there, guys? Catching up with you guys. What's up? What's up, guys? How we doing out there? I get to my comments. What's going on, man? Good morning. CADL, definitely. Is CleanSpark ever going to pop? I think you got to wait. Just set an alert. It's one of those stocks where you can catch the momentum once it's there, right? Money Mitch, you still in GameStop? No, I actually kept trying to trade that on the 29s to the 30s runs. And I played it multiple times when it broke 30s on both of these days. But it never got the move, right? And I didn't lose much on GME. I kept losing like $20, $20. And then I would go up 300 or 200, and I just wouldn't take the cash. Why? I was looking for the bigger move. And playing a little hero on that one didn't work out for me on GameStop. So we'll see what happens. I think it's something to watch above 30. But other than that, I'd leave it alone. At least for me, right? All right, what's up out there, guys? You're watching CADL. Jorge, what are we watching for on CADL? Is it the short? You looking for a short on that, Jorge? I was looking at it around the 1459 spot. I'll tell you guys why. Because if I look on the daily, I look back at always resistance. Right around this level, I was expecting some turnaround. So maybe we'll put it down towards the high, 1430s. Let's put it there. So let's just put it around the 1430 spot. I'm going to look for an attempted move towards that 1430s. And then failing back down below the 14s. That could be the move for me, at least. We'll see what happens. On the 5-minute, it has been trying to get through that, trying to reload, make the breakout, right? And so right here was a nice-looking candle for the breakout. It's still holding the 9, so we'll see what happens with this CADL. And these are definitely some of those stocks that the Furus trade out there, guys. So definitely check it out there, guys. We'll see what happens. Smash the like, guys. We'll see what else is out there. Last time I went to a Dave & Buster's, it was on my wedding night. Well, Tim, I'm sure you had some fun time there at Dave & Buster's on a wedding night. There was definitely some good whiskey going around there. Jam Trades, good morning to you. It's good to see you out there. Eli, NVIDIA spiking? Yeah, I'm sure that was on the CPI report. We'll look to see if it can hold on there. NVIDIA right on that 830, of course, the CPI and the Qs giving a nice little lift. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. We'll see what else is out there. Definitely smash the like. All right, who else is in the chat out there? I'm trying to catch some good chat comments out there. Jim, good morning to you, my friend. Happy trading. Happy trading indeed. Take a look around out there. Currently green in the day. Started the action since 7 a.m. Jorge, not bad, my friend. 7 a.m. is a great time to catch some of those penny names. 6:30 is my sweet spot, Jorge. So between 6:30 and 7:30, a lot of times there's a nice trade there to be made. And then I usually kind of relax for a little bit. Look to see towards like 8:30 when there's other types of spikes in these smaller ones. But Jorge, looking forward to having you on, my friend. So I will give you guys a little insight. Jorge is going to be coming on pretty soon, guys, pretty soon. I won't tell you guys until the end of the show today. So if you want that news, stick around, guys. All right. Right now, I'm going to be joined by a trader in just a second here out there, guys. So stick around, guys. And we got a lot for you guys today. And who has a new limited account? Let me know out there, guys. So Excited to go ahead and bring on Tamara today here. Definitely smash the like, guys. We got a new trader on today, guys, and a volunteer in our channel, of course, our Discord. And I think that you guys would be super excited to get some insights. And I think that for all you traders out there, if you don't have our Discord, you're definitely missing out. Of course, she's in different channels. She definitely goes into Market Discuss and contributes a lot of the news. She has a degree in economics and just completed her degree in applied accounting, working on some additional certifications for corporate accounting, which is what she's doing right now for their day job. She's also a published children's author. Oh, man, this is going to be fun. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on Tamara right now. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Mitch. Oh, thank you for having me here, and hi to everyone watching. It's so exciting.
Yes, excited to have you on today. As someone, of course, in very similar space, of course, I got a finance degree, took a lot of those accounting courses. So God bless your heart, because I couldn't handle that side of the business. But hey, I'm sure it really helped you.
You know what, it does help, but the thing is, we don't want to go too forensic, with financial statements when trading. We want to look at it from like traders' perspective, not from, we can analyze the balance sheet, but it can be done pretty quickly. But it just does help, obviously, to not spend too much time getting familiar with, all the, the technical details. So thank you for a nice introduction.
Excited to have you on. And the economic side is also a great side. I mean, come on, understanding both those and getting into the numbers, and especially when you talk economics, right? Because that has all to do with numbers, right? We get the kind of the media approach, right? With different news, like kind of deciphering what's in the numbers, but really it's just pure data when you talk economics. What have you been seeing there?
Yeah, it's the macro as well. So, for example, I've just been looking at the pre-market. We have this, CPI came in, as you say, as expected. And then on the back of that, we have Fed's decision coming in like in 7 days. So I can see the markets pricing in like more than 80% chance of rate cut. But with macroeconomics, for example, the SPYs selling off on that. Probably traders booking in profits. My expectation is also like tax loss harvesting month, and we had this big run. But also from macro perspective, like we can see like gold as well. I've been looking at gold spot, and it really moved in opposite direct, like idiosyncratic relation between gold, spot gold, and SPY. So every day we have sell-off in gold, we have run in the risk assets like equities, and vice versa. And there is this also from macro perspective, everybody's expecting more inflation next year because of Trump administration and changes. Lower tax rates for corporations means more expansion, more growth. That's inflationary. And I think that I've been listening to I try not to listen to experts because, there's so many different opinions, but, and then it can, trading is different, theory is one thing, economics is one thing, but the market reacts completely different, and especially different stocks. But it seems that the Fed may cut rate, because the market does sort of price that in, when we make a hawkish cut, and especially because of that inflation. So we had the bond market react to that. So if we look into 10-year as well, that's why I look at the pre-market. Yeah, that's the chart. That's it. Yes, but also I do look at just 10-year and 2-year treasury yields. How I saw immediate spike in the 10-year. Now the 10-year. So here is for example, if the 10-year spikes, it can be two reasons. We can expect more growth, more economic growth, so better GDP data. And every time you see like GDP surprise to the upside, like the 10 years going to spike up. And the second reason, it can just be that, you know, the rate, for example, if the Fed cuts rates, that, you know, just yeah, I don't really understand that bit. But yeah, like economic growth can be like one of the reasons for sure.
Yeah, you know, we're getting that back and forth action. Of course, the CPI report coming in and probably affecting that also. I'd take a look at the dollar too, maybe see how the dollar is moving off of it. But I think this is something that we talked about. And we also heard from this morning from China, some economics, right? They're trying to essentially weaken the yuan, and kind of impact the tariffs that way, right? And try to battle back, because if they weaken it, then maybe the tariffs won't be as impactful. Of course, they're trying to bring some stimulus. So I'm going to put out there on the radar to keep a watch on the China names today. So I think this is something to watch if we can have a bullish day on those names. Of course, they were down in the pre-market. That doesn't mean they can't come back roaring. So I'd keep an eye out on those names. And then when we talk about our economics and kind of the interest rates, I think for sure we're probably going to get that 25 basis point cut now. The only thing is I'm still wondering, like, why the 50 basis point cut, 2 cuts before this, right? Because if anything, we were all like kind of thrown in a curveball there, because we all talked about how the Fed is, so, well, at least Jerome kept preaching that they're data dependent, right? Well, where's the data, right? Where's the data that you're seeing?
I think it was the jobs report, because that's what they were saying. You know, they put the inflation at the backyard, and they're saying we had like quite big down revisions, like in July, I believe, and August.
Yeah.
And it was not even like weather conditions related. It was just going bad. And then they were thinking, because the jobs market is the most lagging, so, you know, once you start getting big layoffs and getting 5% unemployment rate, that's when it's too late. That's when you already hit the recession. So, you know, and everybody was talking about soft landing. So the soft landing is when GDP growth is above that inflation, or like the headline CPI. And they just wanted to prevent, I think, because they also get a lot of suggestions thrown at them, and they get a lot of pressure. And they were saying, you know, wait too long to cut rates, like it's going to be too late. And it was also politics. Everybody says,
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Could have waited there. Put it this way, like I said, where's the data, Jerome? Because if there was specifics, I don't think it was just the unemployment, because let's be honest, I think we all, and everybody that was really looking into the numbers, expected it because of the hurricane issues that happened. And then that was just going to be a blimp in the number, right? I think we all expected kind of a disaster number, at least one, because of that. And it didn't mean that it was going to be a continued disaster. So to me, I think 50 basis points on that cut was a little bit too much, too fast. And what I thought was the more important part was the talk of, oh, but we're going to do 50 in multiple cuts coming soon. Yeah. And that's where I was like, whoa, that's a completely different story than what we're getting now, right? Now we're getting more conversations of even economists saying that maybe we get 3 cuts next year, maybe 3 cuts. And then we start to think, right? Are we just going to keep playing the game of maybe we do a 25 basis point cut here and then a pause till like March or something like that? Because I think that's what could happen. Is that what you are seeing potentially happen?
So here's just like, I'm thinking like how the market may react to whatever. There is, for example, there was this expectation that initially if the Fed cuts 50, that's panic, the market's going to sell off. The opposite happened. Market rallied, risk assets rallied, like software stocks, you know, all that, especially crypto after Trump. But now, I don't know, like I think it's sort of baked in that we're going to like have cuts happening at some point. We may get some like 1 or 2 day reaction. My gut feeling is that there is going to be a deep buying market, because people are like expecting like growth. So any pullback, maybe we get like 5% pullback, like just to take profits and just going to be healthy. But I don't think like rate cuts are going to be the main driver. I think everybody thinks that the earnings are going to be main driver.
Yeah.
So, because let's say software stocks, for example, they've rallied a lot. They had good earnings, and everybody's now waiting for that, waiting for gross margins, waiting for all that stuff. So I think it's just going to be earnings. Again, I try not to listen to like professional traders out there too much. I do listen to them, but because I can like repeat myself and just like maybe it's good to have your own opinion as well. And to be able to compare yourself to the rest of the market and see if you if you need to learn more, catch up more. But in terms of like risk assets, what I've been looking at, Mitch, if you can bring it up, maybe I've been looking at Stitch Fix.
Stitch Fix. SFX.
Yeah. So they had earnings
Yeah.
last night, and I mean they had terrible 2 years or whatnot. They're losing revenue, but they've got good margins, and there's been some rumors that they could be like potential takeover target. It's nothing official. There's no mentions of anybody wanting to do that. But for example, Shopix is doing well, and Amazon is doing well. So if any of those guys if any of the big guys were to acquire them, that'd be very bullish. But I don't know if you see anything on the technical side of that for today, because for like a penny stock and for this kind of stock, they're still like kind of holding up today. It's not selling off yet. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, this one's a hard one, right? I mean, when we're thinking about this one, right, what are we talking about, right? We're talking about a personal style service, right? This is like a service, right? So it's more a subscription deal, right? And so why would someone want to acquire this is because of the subscribers, right? Because you get access to like data. Really, that's why you only buy it, right? The same way that I always viewed, like even maybe in the long run, I viewed like Robinhood like that. And that's why I thought it was at some point would turn around at least and get some lift because of that. Coin, the same thing. At some point it was going down, 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 but at some point it was going to turn around because it still has the subscribers, right? Sometimes you can just think of subscribers as money, right? So where anything has a subscriber base, it could be a potential buyout. That's why Peloton is talked about often as a potential buyout also, right? Because Peloton has subscribers, right? And that's what you look at here, right? That's what they would want in Stitch Fix, because it's not the fundamentals, right? I mean, you look into that and it's kind of atrocious. Like the way that I would view that is I just look at the EPS, right? And I can do that with kind of Benzinga Pro. We have of course, that as one of our partners. So I'll show you what I mean by that and why it looks gross. Well, it's because it started off in 2019 and 2018 as a positive EPS, right? And you can see it here. It was making money. And then now, where's the trend have gone? Well, it went really, really bad in 2022. It's down to like 72 cents on the EPS. It's starting to turn around a little bit, and you're seeing the turnaround, but can they really turn things around? This is why you would want to sell the company now. So it's not a bad thinking is when you're starting to turn back towards that profitability, jumping on the sell button, right? Because you could hit that red button and not stress so much. Can we keep this momentum going in the right direction? So good one to watch, good thing to think about. And whenever we get rumors, that already moves the stock. It's called the buy the rumor, sell the news, right? And that happens all the time. That's taking more of the perspective into the fundamentals, thinking about it psychologically, and then also thinking about it technically. We're seeing a technical breakout, right? And these are the top plays, guys. I love thinking about trades like this, Tamara. So you're using all different types of variables, right? You're looking at this into the fundamentals. You're looking into the technicals. You're trying to understand what's the story here. Why would someone want this in the first place, right? And that's when you can have what I call high conviction plays. High conviction plays can narrow down your plays to where you can go and take, these types of swings and with a kind of more measured approach, because at least you're bringing multiple variables into play. What I would do then is I would look at the technicals, and if I'm not the best technical analyst, I just keep it simple. I'd say, okay, I like this play to the upside because of X, X, and X on the fundamentals, X and X on the story. And then I will look at the technicals and say, is my indicator of choice saying yes? And it just would be, to me, the MACD crossover to the upside. And that's already happened. So then that would be your kind of checkoff box that you say yes. So this is one way to take an approach to bigger and better trades, guys. So if you want to get higher quality trades, one of the best ways to get higher quality trades is to combine variables and create a somewhat checklist approach, right? Does everything check off for this play? Then I'll go ahead and be like, okay, so Stitch Fix is a go. Now I'm going to use my day trading skills to go try to get the best entry, right? So it's a go, but that doesn't mean I just buy it immediately. That just means, okay, this is a stock that I want to approach today. Where can I get it? So then I'll go to the 15-minute, the hourly, and I say, okay, we'll come back to hourly support, and that's where I'll start to position, right? And so that'd be below this kind of 541. So I'd look for an undercut below that, wash out some of the morning bulls, and that's when I'm going buying, right? So this is the approach that you can take. All right, so this is what it's all about, guys, right? Learning from the way that we can take trades, and also using macro to get into a stock to look into plays like this. Another thing that can happen is, of course, what are we seeing, right? We're seeing rates come down. And when rates come down, we start to see more deals. We start to see more offerings. We start to see more kind of the SPACs probably coming back, things like that, right? Why? Because financing starts to make sense again, right? So that's why you're also seeing some offerings drop, right? So before, these small caps were probably not getting so many opportunities. And what I mean by that is banks knocking on their door saying, hey, we'll take this on for you. We'll go look for money, because there was a time where the capital was kind of shortened and they weren't looking to spend capital. But as a new president comes in and the momentum's coming, we're starting to see that momentum in, let's say, even Apollo, that is a venture firm, is now going to move into the public market. Why are they doing this? They're trying to jump on the momentum. So sometimes when you see news, it's not so much like, how do I look at this and how am I going to trade Apollo? No, but that tells me if a venture capitalist wants to move to the public market and trade like Blackstone, it's for reason why. Because they see that there's potential growth coming. And if there's potential growth, that's good for me. That's good as a trader to understand, to then go look for growth types of names. All right, guys, let's get toward the market. I appreciate you coming on today. We'll talk markets. If you feel you want to take a look into different charts or take a look at different stocks, go ahead and interrupt me, whatever you may feel. If you want to talk some economics, we can also maybe talk a little bit later, maybe around 10:30. We can get into some deeper topics and kind of expand on that. But thank you for coming on today. Let's kick things off. Let's get it going. So feel free, if you'd like, you can share a chart. If not, don't worry. I'll handle the show.
Yeah, I'll ask you to share charts, just so I don't want to break something and like disappear. Then,
hey, not a worry. You just let me know a name that you're seeing out there, and we'll take a look at it. Here's one that right now that I just want to bring up really quickly that I'm starting to see already kind of break down. This is a penny stock trade type of look, but when stocks go really well on one day, a lot of times the next day, because it has no volume, because it's not moving, people stop watching it. So like QURE is one of those names that I would say keep an eye on it, guys. I mean, this thing went absolute bananas yesterday. We'll see what happens with it today. All right. And then there's also CADL, which is another top mover that we'll see what happens with those. Now the SPY right before the open here, we are in that box. Remember, I made this box like a while ago, guys. And why was I doing this? I was just looking at the hourly. So the hourly resistance was right around here a couple days prior. Now we're moving into that resistance. Let's see if we can break above this box for the bulls to take control. And I'm going to be looking for out the gates is just a quick pop and then a move starting to move right back down. Because I'm just looking for the pullback to maybe play some of that action and then look to see if we get a lift later in the day towards maybe 12 or 2, something like that. Let's see what happens here, guys. It's time to go trading. It's 9:29, 40, 20 seconds here. Any wise words? What do you got for the traders out there?
Brace. It can be like head fake, it's just like I think the market is really looking to maybe take profits. I think any pop up, we might just have like sell off later in the day. That's just my gut feeling during December, and then maybe starting Q1 we may get like rally. But what I'm looking at, C3 AI. So everyone's saying that semiconductors, like especially Nvidia, they had their run. It's all priced in, all the AI chips, and that the play is now going to be in the software names. And C3 AI had dismal past. It had like at one point only one major the like contractor consumer, and now it got deal with Microsoft, and it could just be gaining some other areas as well, or just gaining more market share. Oh my God, look at that.
Yeah, I was trying to get in there, guys. I did not get it though. I will tell you guys, I was trying. I had a limit literally like pennies away from it. I was trying to get 1480s there, right when it was coming through there, and it just flushed through me. Then it bounced to like 70s there, and I had it right there at 1480s. Still not filled there, but this is what I mean by looking at those, right? Because the bid just went down there, and it's just very hard to get it back now towards 15. So we'll see if it does bounce and get towards the VWAP there. But definitely you saw it really quickly get hit there. One that's giving me an alert on my just an longer term outlook, Crocs, guys. So Crocs is one that's been really beaten down, but it's a retail favorite. And so sometimes I look at things that have like a long-term trend line approach and then start to look to see if it can come back. So this is what I was looking at. So you see the bottom line coming all the way back to it, now starting to turn off of that, right? And so we do have this gap approach to the left, and we know how gaps love to get filled. So nice little break towards the upside today in Crocs. So just these are names that are important to look at. What you got for me?
Yeah, Crocs, I don't know if it's like exposure to China that drives their growth, but it was also one of their acquisitions. Hey Dude was one of their acquisitions, and it didn't play very well, and that's why they guided bit like soft numbers, and it never recovered. And then we got Nike. Nike had like terrible quarter, the previous quarter, and I think it's just like that consumer discretionary was just left behind, and I think it's got to do a lot with China as well, because not Nike depends a lot on China, and China just cannot recover. It's been other markets, like I don't know, the US caught up, Europe, I don't know if Europe is ever gonna get catch up. But a lot of these names, they are, especially like Starbucks, for example. Starbucks is another name that was dependent on China expansion. So, and then obviously Starbucks got a new CEO. Oh, look at Tesla.
Yeah, I'm watching the Qs. Yeah, that's Tesla there. So I'm watching for a little bit of a blow off top and then a move right back down. The Qs are just hanging out here. So I'm looking at the SPY too, and I'm seeing it did make a quick down move there, but it got bought up. That's for sure. Let's see if it takes it through here. I think the big part is also taking a look into the sectors. Like yesterday, what did we have right out the gates? We only had technology in the green. And what do we have right now? We have about like 3 or 4 sectors. It's a little bit of a battle. There is some down. Healthcare is down. Basic materials and energy. Utilities have been an ugly area. That's still looking ugly. That's XLU. So that's one that's still just getting shorted into. And then healthcare, of course, we've been hearing so many negatives on the big boys. I've talked about how Lilly looked ugly, that daily chart. It's just hard to trade these because they're more expensive, but look at that. Look how those charts are looking. Look how Johnson & Johnson's on the low and approaching down. Even Merck, and names that were doing really well in the past now starting to break. This AZN made a huge run because of the pandemic, and now look how it's kind of like breaking down there. I'm watching these. Look at MVS now down to 99. So this is a lot to do with the new kind of regime that's coming in, and they're trying to go against big pharma. Tesla, nice little push there now to 412s. Now I'm going to start looking for the fail to start coming in, and then I'm actually looking for this to go red now.
Yeah, I think I want to just play a little short on Tesla now.
I'm going to wait for the Qs to go red, and that's going to be my sign. So I'm not going to go jumping it really quickly, because that's easily a way to get wrecked here. So I'm just looking at the up action too. And what do we talk about? Up action, we always want to have names like that are in there. We talked about Marvell and AVGO as names that were looking decent. MU with a rebound kind of day. I'm looking at those to see if they can get a nice little push. CADL did halt on the upside towards 14. We talked about how this was trading in a 15-minute candle. Nice little breakout there.
That's amazing. What is NVIDIA doing? NVIDIA had small position in NVIDIA. Yeah, still selling off. NVIDIA is just out of favor, like chip stocks. AMD down big as well. That's not going to bring anything amazing there, probably. And it doesn't move a lot, there's no too much volatility in NVIDIA right now. Do you remember before the stock split, when it was in 400s, it was I know a lot of traders play that as a day trade.
I'm taking a little bit of some Tesla here, guys. I'm short Tesla a little bit there, guys. I just saw the breakdown right below that 409. So I'm trying to hold off the 410 right quick here with just 50 shares. Nothing insane. Just risking about $70 here. I'm in the green right now, and it's dropping fast. So if it's going to be a play that just completely collapses, I'm just going to let it collapse here. So I really essentially don't want to hold break even right now, but I'm not putting it out there because I'll show my hand too much and it might come back. So I'm looking for that 406.50 breakdown that we just went to really quickly and bounced. So now we're approaching my level here. I'm starting to get a little bit in the red there, but I'm just watching for it to kind of bounce right off my level right back down here. There it goes. Exactly what just happened. If I had to stop there on break even, I would be out of this name right now. So now that it's flushing on the downside and momentum's coming down, now I can set that stop on my break even. So now that the momentum's in my favor, I'm setting the stop, right? And so that's an important thing for me, because when you do it when it's not in your favor, I'm telling you, the market maker comes and takes your money. Now we're looking good here. Now it's starting to break that 406. We're looking good now, up about $100. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see if this can break the 405. That's the next level to watch here. Back through the 407, I can take the money and just take a little cushion and see if it bounces. That's the thing with Tesla too. It has a tendency of either just flushing or bounce. So there's the 405 move. Now we're towards the next support. That was the next layer. So at this point, I want to make sure that I at least take like $90 here. So I'm gonna be really quickly able to take a stop around, let's say 406.70s here if it starts coming back. Now I'm looking for the Qs to follow. So Tesla kind of led the action. I'm looking for the Qs to go now red. So I'm watching for the 406 rejection here from Tesla. So it's at 406 right now, just rejecting right now. If not, it comes back to the 408. So that's why I'm not going to let it go back there. 406.30s. It's kind of like trying to reject off of that, but at the same time triggering some stops there at the 406. There we go. Nice rejection there on the 406 now. So that was like that moment where it could come back. So now if I see, let's say, even 406.20s, I could get out. So I'm going to put 406.50s in a second here. Make sure I'll put $100 just right on the dot. 406.60s. So it can come and get me right now. If it does, it's fine. I'll take the $100 and it could come right back. But at least I'm in the green here now, securing $100. Tesla loves to be a little bit of a dragon. So since I'm riding this early momentum, it's okay to get out, take the profit, use it as a cushion, right? So now I got to see if the Qs can break. So the Qs are still up, and bouncing on that 9 actually helped me get out there in Tesla, because Tesla will probably come back to the VWAP if Qs go to the highs. So let's see what happens there. And that's the red line here, the dotted red line. Let's see if it goes back to that or rejects 406 again. But Tesla was one. It was top play for me today to look for this to go red. And what was it? Literally on the playbook. Pop above 410s, drop. That's why I have to play this, right? If I don't play this, I did all the hard work and didn't take the action. So we'll see what happens now.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
It happens to you. It happens to me. Don't worry. Happens to all of us. A CADL, guys, up there to 1456, right on the dot, and it turns around. So right around that level, right? So 1450s, it seems like it's a really hard resistance there, but it came out of the halt. So just be careful. It could now halt down as it's down to 1330s. But man, this is all over the place, guys. It just seems like a very hard trade, at least for me. But CADL, it's definitely moving out there. What about that QURE? It's right back at VWAP. This looks good for a short for me. Let me take 100 shares with this just to take the approach, guys. Oof, the spread. I need it closer towards the 1480s. Looking for a spread that gets me closer to the 1480s, because if not, it could easily come back to like 1525. Orders out there for QURE. Can I get that on the downside? So this is called the VWAP fade, where stock breaks big with some decent volume, comes back to the VWAP, and then fades right off of that. Known strategy here. All right, got to go focus and look at the Qs. Qs are ripping to the upside there. So I'm at least all out of Tesla, so I don't have to stress about that. That's why I'm going for this QURE trade. Ooh, and look at the flush come in there, guys. So I might have missed it. Of course, when it was at the trade was there at the VWAP, right? I just jumped into it late. So I tried to say, hey, Mitch, don't chase here, because chasing is how you get wrecked, right? That's how I get wrecked all the time too. Let's say if I would have just jumped there, boom, jumped on there at the 60s. Well, then if I get any bounce to the 80s, I'm already down $200 or something like that. Not going to do that. But QURE, definitely looking interesting for me. CADL, of course, right back down. It's on the 1320s. Could come up, could come down. I think it hit the daily level where it starts to pull back, right? And so that was my look. But the 1430s was a big look there. And what I really would like to see is, can it come back to 14? So if it can come back to 14, it could reject 14 and then come down for a real break. So I'd be waiting to see that 14 touch and then the break. But that's just me. If you guys are looking for the 9 EMA breakdown, it could happen right here on the 13 cut down. But I'm thinking we get one more shake where it comes to like a trend line approach up here. And then I'd be interested to see what happens in the 14 range.
That was incredible trade.
Which one? The QURE?
CADL. I saw some traders being in a stock when it had that big gap up.
Yeah.
Because of the approval, FDA approval. You know, like in like biotech stocks and like in pharmaceuticals, I think you just have to be in a stock. It's like I can never. That's the sector that I find incredibly difficult to trade.
It is. Look at Google, man. Google, quantum computers, Rigetti. We talked about that one yesterday, and man, that thing made a huge lift. I didn't watch it during the trading action. This was one of those quantum names. Seeing those actions definitely moving around. Oh, that QURE, that was such a nice look right there. So right down, this is where you take profit. A lot of times right at the low. The known strategy right here. VWAP fade, big bar at the open with decent volume, comes back to VWAP, and you're looking for a rejection on the left of the pre-market high or pre-market kind of recent resistance. So you can use that as your kind of risk area. So you get in there around 15, you can risk to 1540s or the recent one, which was around 1530s. And then all you're doing is you're just trying to take it towards the low. Take majority of traders take half off there. I sometimes go just full off there. And then you look for the 9 EMA rejection, which would be a little bounce here, and then the takedown through that layer. So that's just a VWAP rejection play. QURE talked about how those trades are interesting to watch on day 2 or day 3. And this is specifically the trade. Q's strong. So let's start looking for that MU to come back, and look how it's coming back there. So nice little turnaround right back on MU. Talked about how I was looking at this one to see if it would come in, and then also Marvell and AVGO are names that we can look at if the market's going to go green, right? So Marvell looking interesting there. AVGO. Let's see how this one's doing. All right, it's doing very similar move than Micron. So interesting moves there. What are you guys seeing in the chat? What are you seeing tomorrow?
Broadcom's going to have earnings, I think. Definitely this week. I just forgot what day. That's nice. Like how Broadcom recovers. Maybe it can pull like Nvidia or like Lam Research, for example. Lam Research was absolutely decimated because of the chip wars and everything. So it may, if Broadcom does well, it might have good positive impact on Lam. But yeah, like for example, the chip stocks, again, I just think they're not in favor at the moment. We've seen with Google, with quantum chips and all that stuff. It's like, oh, it's amazing. The market got excited. It's like, oh, okay, it's just faded now. It's just in the pipeline, but the market is not too excited about that, probably.
Well, here's your answer to if we're getting some strength today. Look at Soxal. Wake up. Soxal, the Q's just continuing, guys. So no turn back. So that sell on Tesla was a good sell. So at this point, I'm just looking to see what happens in Tesla. Right now, it could still break down, right? I talked about how you could still get that VWAP rejection. The reason why I'm not jumping is the strength that I'm seeing, right? There's a saying, right, that the tide can lift all boats. And this is that similar trade where Tesla seems like it wants to come down today. But if the market if the overall market is going to keep doing this and the Qs are going to keep looking like that, I'd find it very hard to see big breaks down in Tesla, right? So we'll see what happens there. Tesla could easily come right back through that 408. We'll see what happens. GM, of course, with their mention, I think this is also weighing in. Of course, I talked about how that news to me was negative, and it is getting hit. So maybe that's a part of it. Ford also down big, about 2 points there. So we're seeing some downside action in those. Microsoft holding well here, guys. So I'm looking at Microsoft holding well. 446 looking decent here. So that's one that's definitely holding well. Google taking off 191.70 now. CADL now towards 12. So that thing went on the halt down. It did a 9 EMA rejection there. So, and then right down into the hole. Jorge, did you nail that one? Oh, I love the chat.
Oh, well, look at that.
Tesla. There's a little cut down in Tesla, now down towards the 404. Still could recover a little bit. I think the MACDs, I'm watching here, the Qs especially. Let's see what's leading in the Qs right now. All right, at the top of the Qs, we got, of course, Google. Gilead Sciences having a decent day today. That's an interesting name that's up. Autodesk. Micron, of course, we talked about how that one could have a nice little lift. And look at the lift off from 99 to 101. 2 points in about 15 minutes. Well, actually, that's only 5 minutes. Oof, that's a good run there. ARM taking off there. KLAC. So that to me shows me more semiconductor action there. But the KLAC mentioned. CrowdStrike getting a lift. So maybe PanW continuing its push as the leader, right? This thing recently got to 400. Let's see if it starts to catch back towards that 400 now. So I'd look for maybe a break of 395 there. Snow. Let's see how Snow's doing. That's pulled back right now. That's an interesting one that I can take a look at a little later. Let's see what else is trading up here today. Looking into the sectors, technology leading, real estate defensive up, but now pulling back. Cyclicals getting a little bit of some love there. So keep your eyes on that.
Oh, AppLovin, that was the big game there. The stock recovered from, like, let me just see, APP ticker. They went all the way to 400, now pulled back, but I think that's a name to watch to gain. It's like a turnaround story. AppLovin, they had, I think the stock was like $13 like 2 years ago.
That thing was an absolute monster ride, man. Monster ride. That looks like Palantir to me. So very similar chart. Of course, I've talked about Palantir to the short side. Would we get continuation? We're getting it today, guys. Yesterday, oh my God, I was so frustrated in Palantir. It went down and I still didn't make money, guys, but that's how it goes sometimes. A part of that was also that I couldn't watch it all day because I think I would have nailed the drop around the 11 a.m., but I had like some appointments that I needed to take care of. That's why I hopped out a little early. But Palantir continuing on the downside today. So very similar to that AppLovin chart. So blow off top, starts to break the 9 EMA, right? And so look at that. Look at AppLovin. So blow off top, starts to break the 9 EMA. So this is a similar, right? What you're looking for also, what gives me the sign is the blow off above the Bollinger Band. So on a trend that's moving like that. So on the first action, you see this blow off above the Bollinger Band, right? But then look to see when you see that next Bollinger Band break. That shows you that it's extended there, not looking great. Some people think that's looking great. To me, that means you're pushing a little too much. The momentum is pushing so fast that the Bollinger and the standard deviation, the mathematical probability is telling you, watch out. That's all it's telling you. It's not telling you that it has to come down, but it is telling you, watch out. That's
especially
what
like
technical analysis does a lot of the time.
Especially when these stocks reach price targets, like consensus price targets. Palantir has 90. That's what I was waiting for. But hit 80 and start selling off. And AppLovin, I think it was like 400, like lower 400s price target. And then it hits that, and then what else? And as you say, and technicals follow that. Everything follows that. Blow off top, as you say. And then, everyone's taking money.
Yeah. Ulta doing good right now. I'm watching that one right now to see if that can get the lift off right now. Qs overall is continuing the strength. Now we're starting to see a little bit, but man, look at that. Look at that. Real strong action today. Lift off. And that, with that being said, will Tesla kind of catch back up? It's down to 402. So, hey, it's still fading a little bit there. Daily chart, you can see it. It's trying to turn red right now, but it hasn't turned red. So let's see if it starts to get there. 404.16 is that level. It's about to start to go red there. So it should get red in just a second now as it starts to break that. You can see it's starting to recover already. I think a big part of that is just looking at the Qs. Now I'm seeing BDTR. Tells me it's that Bitcoin name, BDTR, right? Yeah. This is starting to recover there to the 1970s. So is now the clean spark rip. There it is. It's starting to move here. Let's see if we can get some crypto move, maybe. Hey, it's not a bad looking move right now. Definitely broke above this kind of 1320s. I can look at Mara and different names out there. Those are pushing already. So definitely seeing the lift off in those. Hut is right off of the 27. That looks a little bit good too there. Clean spark on the 1330s starting to recover.
Oh, Mitch, I'm going to have to go soon in like a minute or two. It's been so quick. We were in an hour here, and it was just like no time. And that's the market, so much action and so much to talk about, and and especially on the show. On the show, it's even more fun, and especially having to talk to somebody. As traders, we're like on our own, maybe listening to live stream like our traders like do now. Have some helping hand. It's nice to trade with somebody. It definitely goes quick.
No, definitely. I love it. And stick around, and what I would say is you guys definitely check out her in the Discord. If you're not checking out the Discord. You're definitely missing out. There's a lot of traders out there giving some good information. Of course, the Sunrise Report is always posted on there. I try to give some information, and you can definitely have some conversations and talk to different traders. Learn from traders like Tamara and others. I think it's so important, guys. And definitely, if you're not in our Discord, you're missing out, because I know I can't be here all day, but the Discord goes on all day, 24/7. So you got to be on there. Definitely check it out. Thank you for coming on. We'll bring you back. And if there's ever a time or something that you're seeing out there that, hey, I'm seeing this trend and I want to kind of talk about it, always know that the door is open to you. Doesn't have to be a specific day. Let me know. We'll bring you on tomorrow. I appreciate you coming on today and look forward to more conversations with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mitch. Obviously, it was an absolute pleasure. So yeah, see you guys in the Discord. Yeah, we usually like a crying shoulder sometimes as well, so not just the advice. But yeah, it was really a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much,
Awesome.
Mitch. All the best. And good luck.
We'll have you back, and a lot of love in the chat for you. So they definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing chats. I can't like multitask.
No worries, no worries. I just want to at least give you the love out there. They definitely enjoyed you coming on. They're looking forward to having you back. And they asked me, that has to be an Aussie accent, right?
I know it's so I'm in London, but I'm not originally from London.
London. You're not originally from London. We got to hear more about this story. Yeah. So when you come back, we're getting this story. We're getting more background from you because the chat wants to know. That's for sure. So thank you for joining me. Have a good one. Happy holidays if I don't see you back before the holidays, but take care.
Bye. Have a great
one. Bye, guys. Bye. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get back to the action, guys. Let's see what's going on here and how we can make some money today, guys. Now the Q's starting to leak out there a little bit. So Tesla could get weak again here. So I'm just watching it here to see if the Q's can pull back some of this strength that we're seeing. And boy, oh boy, was that some strength. So let's see if we start to get a little bit of a move in the VIX. That's another way to play this. So that's one way that I put out on the playbook. I put the VIX, I put Tesla, and I put KMX the upside. So let's see what happens with that. Looking to see if the VIX could take off there. And of course, I'm just going to watch for this move. I'm just going to put an alert at the 4180s to let me know if it starts to move there. All right, looking at Tesla. Tesla's one that starts to fade again here. So it could be another fade here in Tesla. Now it's continuing to fade here. So I'm going to probably go for it right off of this and just be kind of really quick with it. Love to see Tesla get back to VWAP, and then I could fade it. Let's see it on the 5-minute here. Yeah, 5-minute. If it can come back to 407s, it looks better, but could just fade down through that low. Q is pulling back a little bit, but catches really quickly there. So strong action there. Disney, though, down towards 1432s. We'll keep an eye out on that. There's Tesla now going towards the 405. So let's see if we can get some type of bounce in a second. We can get back to shorting Tesla. Q's starting to break a little bit there. We'll see if it actually does get a little bit more of a breakdown. Watching the Q's here, there was a lot of strong action today out the gates there. Google breaking out there, and it was a monster move. It was interesting to see it not moving in the pre-market, but boy, right out the gates, a nice breakout there. 7 points higher. Yes, 7 points higher, man. Definitely missing out on that action. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Making moves. I'm watching Lulu off the VWAP. That looks interesting for me, but I'm wondering if it's going to really have juice to get back there towards the 420s. Tesla just came right back down, so it just keeps getting weak today. It's not being able to get the lift. GM, you could see the weakness in GM. Ford also. Watching the Qs here to see if we can start to really break on the 5-minute. Looking for a pullback towards the 526 here. PayPal doing well, guys. So that's an interesting name that I see up. Square might do well off the 97 there. Square, nice little push higher. We'll look to see if it gets back towards 100. CADL back at 12s now. This thing's moving all around here. Just went for a down hole. Now starting to come back towards 1246, but could fade off of this. We'll see what happens. QURE that I was trying to short. It was a nice look there. Came back to the VWAP and still breaking down a little bit. GXAI getting a little bit of an alert on the scanners out there. This is 630s trying to push now. So, of course, if I look at the 15-minute, this looks pretty decent on the 15-minute. GXAI now pulling back here towards the 6. I'd like an undercut here to 5 on this GXAI. I don't mind it here. It's not a bad-looking name here. The 580s undercut here would be a good look. And then recovery back up. We'll see if it gets that move. There's 593s on the offer. See if we can take this with a smaller size, something that I can handle and use some of the profit that I have. I have $100 there. I don't mind using some of it. I'm just looking for a slight breakdown below the 90s here. Just recovered towards the 6 there. It's right back above the 6. So let's see if they take it here. Doesn't want to go on GXAI right now. Now back above the 6 there. Now starting to get hot there. 616. Nice little pullback on the 6. Going towards the 620s here. I'm not in though, but let's see if it takes off. There's 620s, 630s now. GXAI definitely getting some volume. Look to see if it starts to really break out there. Clean Spark did a nice little pullback. Now going for another move. Trying to get going higher here. Can the Qs hold on? Can we just continue ripping? Let's find out, guys. Tesla rejected that move there. Could still come back, though. VIX trying to move, but really not getting the lift. What's up out there, guys? Palantir now to 74. Ooh, Palantir. Should be shorting Palantir for sure. Been messing up this trade, guys. Messing it up. It's such a good call on Palantir, the turn, but see what happens there. Palantir, 69.30s. Missed that VWAP attempt here at the 70s. That would have been a nice one. All right, we'll see what happens on another one. Let's go. Let's go. Tesla now bouncing there, guys. So there's the bounce and the Qs staying strong here, guys. Holding the 9. Let's see what happens on the Qs. MU starting to pull back a little bit there. We might get an opportunity on that. Marvell's on the VWAP here. Let's see what happens on the Qs here. Do we go right back through the highs or we start to pull back here? VIX looking interesting here. Trying to pop. Lulu recovering, so Lulu, strong move off the VWAP there. That's actually looking really good today on the 15-minute. Just took the 402. Microvast alert on that one. That's starting to get the move. Daily chart looks decent there. Let's see if it can really get the volume that it needs. QS on the downside there. Quantum computing down a pretty good amount there. QUBT getting hit hard today. This one might actually be a short today. What's the other one? QCMO or what's the other? I'm trying to find the other quantum play there. I know IonQ is one of those that's down also. So I'm seeing both of these down big. QMCO. This one is one that I might look for a short. They're both down big and they're starting to break now. And so this is a trap type of look that's starting to break down. I like that break of 23. Can I come back here towards 70s? Man, this is, dude, like literally like a minute away. I would have shorted this bad boy. Ah! Literally, like my mind was just not fast enough there, guys. And look at the drop there, guys. We just got a drop from 23 to 21.50. That is $1.68, guys. And I was gonna, man, that's a tough one to miss now. QUBT going down fast there too. So hey, it is what it is. IonQ also fading fast there. So we'll see if I can get a bounce on that one. But QMCO just was too slow, man. 1 minute late to this name. It cost me there. All right. Another small name moving there. LDTC. LDTC. This one had just gotten into a second halt. Could go to a third halt through 3. We'll see what happens on this one. This thing's just halting all around and could keep going. I mean, there's nothing to say this one has to stop here. Holding the 9 EMA pretty well there. So not a bad look off the 250s. Let's see if it takes 275 now and keeps it going. All right, we'll see if that goes for a 275 move there. CADL also getting a little bit of a spike there. I will mention that. Got a little bit of a spike, but holding back. This still could be a short. We'll see what happens on that. This is one that I'm not getting in front of. Q still slowing up a little bit, though. Tesla back at VWAP there, guys. So taking a look to short Tesla again here. Trying to get some short on Tesla, just a small amount right here. All right, come on. Come get me a nice little fill there. Q's going higher there. That's still not wanting to turn, so I'm trying to pull it up here. Not get filled in Tesla. If the Qs would have turned to red there, I would have tried to get short on Tesla, but I see the Qs still holding on there, so I can't get it right now. Q's still strong breakout there. Apple probably going to almost 250 now. Woo! Almost 250. BXX getting a little bit of a spike there, even though the market's going up here. Is interesting to see that, but Lulu now 404. So that was one name that I was looking at earlier. Haven't been taking too many trades here as I'm more looking into the market, just calling out plays right now. Cyclicals now leading the action in the last hour. So definitely some names there doing pretty well. Media diversified. What's doing well here that's standing out to me? Not much there. Apparel manufacturing. Figs doing pretty well today, up almost 4%. I think that one might be up with the Stitch Fix. Yeah, those two kind of have a similar chart. Stitch Fix trying to hold 6 here, guys. Could recover on Stitch Fix. So I like the hourly on Stitch Fix. Remember what I talked about for the undercut on Stitch Fix through that 541? Exactly what you got out the gates here. So recovery of 6 looks good here. Let's see if it can break 6. Stitch Fix. Q's pushing well there. That's going to help names like PayPal, Square. There's a lot of names doing well right now. So keep your eyes on that action. Tesla just spiking there now towards 408.30. So glad I didn't get into Tesla there. Meta getting a little bit of a lift there. Micron right back at 150 here. So nice opportunity here to see if it's going to lift off this 100. Microsoft with a push there, trying to keep going on the 15-minute. ARM just ripping towards the upside. Meta ripping. Dollar Tree ripping. AMAT, nice little day there. Gilead at VWAP. Amazon pushing right back up there. Netflix pushing. Palantir right back up there. Could get a little bit of a push right back to the VWAP. That's one thing I'm seeing on it. Disney around VWAP. We'll see what happens on that one. Still think Disney could collapse below the 114. I'm watching that Disney today. And the market go red, man. Q's holding on. The strength there. The strength. All right. We're starting to see that cryptos. Those cryptos holding on. Looking around to see what's moving in the small ones. I'm seeing Zone moving a little bit. ZONE. This one's trying to break up there towards the $2 spot. Not a bad looking chart on the hourly. Zone. Clean Zone Solutions. Stitch Fix just broke that 6, guys. There she goes for the 6 break. Now, finally, the Q's turning around a little bit here. All right, got 30 shares short of Tesla there. Just 30. Trying to add to it, but trying to be patient. VIX pulling back a little bit there, but Tesla's finally starting to come back down here. So looking to see if I can just get a VWAP rejection off of here. So not back above that 408.75, really. Okay, good hit there on the first side action here. All right, just added a little bit there, guys. All right, starting to get into the green here. Now back at the 407.20s. I got 60 shares. I want to get up to about 100 shares, so I could still put about another order or 2 in here. Is squeezing a little bit on me here. I'm essentially just using the money that I made earlier. Gonna risk that, about 90 bucks. All right, it's coming back against me here. Could take my 90. Looking for a rejection on this 409. It runs into a trend line here. Qs are still strong, though. That's where it's just being a little bit heavy there. Yeah, SPY still strong out there, guys. Market's still strong, so don't expect this to work here. I'm probably just going to get cut at the $90. If I get cut here, it's fine. That's 409.47. I'll just be right back to break even, and that's fine. That leaves me the opportunity, right? So I'm setting up here. We'll see if it cuts right back down here. AVGO making a little bit of a move there. I'm watching the Qs. Seeing that the VIX could spike again. That would be a good sign for me. But Google up there to 195. What a monster move in Google. AVGO actually up more than Google. So nice recovery there in AVGO today. Marvell starting to come right back up there, was on the VWAP. So was Micron. So it's holding that kind of break back towards the 101. Hitting that trend line right now on Tesla here. It's starting to pull back a little bit there, but could stop me out at any moment here. All right, starting to come back a little bit there. And I'm just watching the overall market there. Disney starting to go down a little bit lower there. Microsoft with a nice little push on the 15-minute. All right, guys, here's the opportunity here. Let's see if it stops me out or does it come right back down here. Now we're seeing at least some pullback on that, going back to the 408s, 50s. Let's see, can you break back down here? Micron pulling back a little bit there, and the Qs pulling back a little bit there. Now can I get some actual breakdown here? All right, starting to come right back towards my trade here. Doesn't look bad. I want to see it break the 9 EMA before I overreact here. It could just hold the 9 and come right back up here. Just watching it, guys, giving it the 5 minute to start getting into the green there for me, and then I can start adding and then holding off the 408s. Q starting to pull back there, so it looks decent, but doesn't mean it's a guarantee there. Ain't nothing to guarantee. That's how it is in trading, guys. We'll see what happens now. Q's pulling back, breaking the 9 a little bit there. Will it start to actually play back here? Play, I'm just taking a look at it. That's down a decent amount today. Ion Q. Still getting hit hard there. QMCO went into a down halt, guys, on that move. Man, I missed this one. Frustrated. Seconds costing me on that one. Long on the GME. Take that, baby. Bearded Appliance Repair. Love it. Not only are you going to be able to repair my appliances, but you're long in GME too, baby. I know you've been all over on that one. Ride that 9, baby. Yeah, NQ cannot be stopped right now. I do see that. I definitely see that. Q's pulling back a little bit here. Now we're starting to see at least a little bit of a rejection of the 9 EMA. Let's see if it really wants to kind of come down here now. Getting tested on Tesla, and you know how that goes, guys. Biggest thing with Tesla, I got to be willing to get out and then get back in, and that's hard sometimes. That's hard. All right, Tesla's holding a little too well here, guys. I'm going to set a stop in just a second here. Setting the stop, about to get hit. Gave it about a penny here because it was right off of mine. Still seeing the Qs come down here. Just pulled back a little bit there, but still can hit me at any moment here. The Qs are coming down here, but Tesla's not coming down fast enough. And so I just can't risk it here and trying to get run over. All right, it's pulling off of that right now, trying to reload some volume here in the 60s. Canceling that for just a second here. Trying to see if it starts to break down here. Sorry, Pal is calling me. Jerome, I can't answer right now. I'm trading. Oh, there you go. There we go. Now we're cutting right back towards it. So now risking about $100 on this right now, but trying to see the Qs if it's going to break here. Like I mentioned, you got to be willing to let it go sometimes and then getting back in. So even if we get another drive up, doesn't mean that it's done. It just means that I got to get out and get back in. So setting up there, $100, it could come and get me, or it could just quickly come down here. All right, Tesla quickly coming down a little bit now, pulling off of that. So just got to be careful. The squeeze is wicked on Tesla. Setting the 97 stop here, coming right back to me. So when it comes back to me on that side, you got to be careful. All right, let's see what happens here in the Qs and Tesla overall, right? So that's what I'm trying to bet on. And we'll see if the VIX gets a little bit of a lift, right? I'm looking at that. And I also talked about potentially seeing KMX to the upside. So we'll see what happens on this one. If we start to get some more push to the upside, I could play this. Google starting to pull back there. That's a good sign there. Apple pulling back. So that means I'm getting more and more Qs leak. All right, comes down a little bit here, so I took it off for just a second there on the stop, trying to see if I can get more of the Qs to break here. Getting a test here on Tesla. Q's trying to break, but it's slowing down, and it can always just ramp right back. All right, there's the Qs leaking a little bit more here. We'll see what happens on the bottom end of this Bollinger Band. Start to run into a 5-minute support there. Back into the 80s here. Tesla pushing right back up here. Probably going to get stopped out on that push there. And right back down. So Tesla's just chomping around right now. It's trying to cut me out, but not being able to cut me out because I'm just kind of cutting out, cutting in, cutting out here. There's Tesla now starting to try to break the 9. Let's see if it can break the 9 here. And right back up. So you just got to be careful when it starts to come squeezing back. Definitely a slowdown here, guys. So smash the like. Take a second to appreciate the day that we have already, guys. How do you screen for range trades? So a lot of the times for range trades, Bearded, I'd use a Bollinger Band. So The Bollinger Band can help you in that sense because it tells you a lot of times where the extreme ends of the range are. So you were trading GME, right? We can take a look at it with GME in just a second here. Just give me a quick second, see what happens with this Tesla. Probably going to get cut and right back down. So it's just chomping. At this point, I'm holding my out at 100. I'm just trying to let the Qs break there before Tesla breaks. Because if Qs can break, it can give me a little sign that, yeah, we got this. All right, Q's trying to break the move, and it can't break it. So it's got to be careful with Tesla here. All right, Qs could bounce right back up here, so just be careful. I'm seeing that bounce already coming in here. I'm ready to get stopped out in Tesla here. I'd be down like 10 bucks. There you go, down 12 bucks there. Still going to look to get Tesla, but the idea with Tesla is that it does this a lot, where it spikes and then comes for another spike on the downside. So I'm looking right now to see if it double tops and the Qs keep going lower. Back down through 409 is where I'll be looking to get short again. Gonna just continue watching Tesla like a hawk today, guys. Gonna try to tackle the dragon. All right, big wick put in there on Tesla. Gonna give it a chance to keep going though. The Qs haven't broken. That's the big thing too. Qs started to rebound there, so that gives you a look to the upside on some names. So I'm sure there's some names that are starting to look like they could get that upside. Meta's right on the VWAP or the 9 EMA. Let's take a look at GME really quickly here. So one thing you talked about holding on to the 9 EMA on the 1 minute. So the 1 minute, you can see how the 9 EMA is just going up and down. It's not really trending, right? It trended on this first action and then broke it here at the 28.75. So unless you're going on a deeper time frame where you can hold that 9 on the 15, something like that is another approach there. And then for range bound trades, let's take a look at it on the 5 minute. You can see that the top end is all around the 28.90s and the bottom end could actually come back to 27.25. If you look at the 1 minute, it's going to be a little bit closer Bollinger Bands, right? So you can see that was extended here, but could pull back to the bottom end of the Bollinger Band. It doesn't pull back here, and you can see it does over here. So top to bottom, bottom, maybe to back right to the top, 28.75. We'll see if we get that. There's Qs and Tesla actually going higher here, right back to the 412. So we'll see what happens on those names. Can they come right back down? GM is probably going to be also, still down big. I'm telling you, that was some bad news. I don't know how, should have just gone shorting GM today. That probably would have been the better approach, team. Just looking back, hindsight 2020. Of course, I was looking into this space and I thought the news was horrible there. But hey, that's how it is sometimes. BTDR taking off, guys. So the Bitcoin names, guys. The Bitcoin names is where it's at. I'm going for CleanSpark, guys. CleanSpark looks like a nice little buy here. Let's see if I can get it. The Qs are holding me back right now, man. BDTR, though, that was a big breakout there. I'm wanting to get CleanSpark right now, but seeing the Qs red is kind of creeping me out. Palantir back at 70. I like the Palantir short off of the 70. Tesla, right back. All right, let's go for it here. See if we can break that. Start going towards the 409 here. Just watching the action right now. Want to get after it, but just got to be patient. Palantir above 70s. Disney looks weak also. I'm watching Disney to see if it starts to break down. Looks like it could break the 114s right now on Disney. There's a cut down now, starting to reject the 410s here on Tesla. All right, I'm going to try to get a starter on here. Starter on there, 409.50s. Keeping it simple here. Remember, a lot of the times with Tesla, I got to be small. And then once it really starts working for me, I can size in. So I'm trying to be small there. I cut the size that I wanted to go after that by about half, which is going to keep me at least in on this little pop here. There's a pop above 410s here that I got to be careful of going back to 411s, right? So there's back to 410.50s here. I'm about to stop out of it. Watching the action right now, seeing if I can get this curve back down here. So you saw the MACD cross also. So I'm looking to see if we get a move right back down to the 409.50s. I'm glad I didn't go with the 100 shares there. It's what kept me in the trade there. Okay, now right back down. That's good action there. Let's see if we really start to cut the 409 now. So back up above, let's say the 411s is the bull move back through the 412s, but the breakdown through the 409 is what I'm looking at. All right, getting a bounce in the Qs. Got to be careful with that bounce. There's the squeeze there, back towards the 411. About to get out on this. Need to set the stop here at the 96.50s. There you go. Got stopped out there, guys. Took a $100 loss there. Not nothing too crazy. Still in the wheelhouse there. Just watching the market because I still see this drop coming soon. It's just more how much do I want and how much can I risk here? Gotta be patient. Gotta be patient sometimes. I'll look for a 409 break. If it doesn't come back to that 409, I don't need to look at this. So like there's two ways to look at the market right now. And I'm going to call out some plays there on both sides. So Micron to the upside looks good on the 100 coming back towards the 101.50s. So that's about $1.50 upside, risk about 50 cents. So not a bad kind of 3-to-1 outlook there in Micron. And that's a nice looking trade there for me. And it's starting to run already. So let's see what happens here on the Qs. Do we just get continued run in the Qs? It could happen here. I think, you are extended, but hey, a lot of these stocks have made a really good move there. Google still holding pretty well. Let's see, Apple overall still holding well there. Nvidia even starting to come back and trying to get through that 137. That could help it get a little bit of a lift. AMD back down to 127. Let's see if it bounces towards 129. If the market really wants to start coming back, this is a trend line that it could come back to. We'll see what happens if it starts to make its way back on the upside breakout. And the Qs could continue just higher and then start to drive and start to pull some other stocks to the upside. ARMS continued on the upside. Meta has had a good time, but just pulled back the 630s. PayPal's been having a decent day, that's for sure. Qualcomm also just looking around to see what's up and what's not. All right, guys, in GME, hey, get that money, guys. Hardest thing for me to learn was to stop selling tops and buying bottoms. Best risk to return, but you won't be right often. Yes, 100%. I don't think this is necessarily a wrong thing to do, though. It's just more about how accurate do you want to be. So, like sometimes, man, I only need to be like 30 or 40% accurate. I buy a lot of the supports. I think what you have to understand is that knowing that you're going to be 30 or 40% accurate is understanding that essentially more than half of the trades I'm going to lose. So all I need to do is risk manage. That's the hard part. Majority of traders cannot risk manage on those types of trades. The same thing for the buying the breakout though. Buying the breakout isn't bad either. The only thing is though, I've played that one. That was the first kind of area that I went to. It's all about what works for you. That's what I would say, Bearded. Finding what works with your personality and your trend is so important. Like your trade, what's your strategy? Finding what works there is going to give you that edge. Palantir right back, just pretty much kind of just chomping around now. Qs had pretty much not really gone anywhere in the last kind of like 30 minutes. Disney going lower, trying to break that 114. Looks good here to break down, but man, I have not been able to nail that Disney trade. Looks good here as it starts to cut down. I could go bigger and try to scalp it here. That's the only way I feel like playing Disney right now. But doesn't look bad. It just got more volume in as it starts to get to that 114. Important spot here for Disney. SPY and Q just all over the place, but still holding well. I mean, it's still holding relatively well. We haven't pulled back to the VWAP at all today, so that's strength. That's strong. Technology overall starting to pull back a little bit there, but it's not much, guys. It's not much. All right, Tesla's starting to break right around the highs over here. So I like this entry here. I'm going to take a starter here in just a second here. It's what, 10:38. So we still got a little bit left here, guys. I want to nail this Tesla before I get out of here. How'd that QMCO do? Man, down to 17, guys. I wanted to short this at 23. Man, 5 points in the green there. And we saw it. 1 minute. 1 minute was the difference in why I wasn't able to nail that QMCO. Because when I got to it, it was already at 2280s, and I wanted to short 23s there. It was just one of those things where it happens, and then the flush comes in. QUBT, I talked about how that one could flush down. That flushed beautifully from the VWAP, 673s down to $6, and continues to fade. QURE, one of those names that I wanted to fade earlier. It still has an opportunity to become a fade today. We'll see what happens. Big level to watch. It's 15 rejections. Could recover 15, but keep that in mind, right? PDCO now pulling back. This one was hot, pulling back now. Looking around to see what else is hot. What about that earlier one? What BDTR? How's that one continuing? That's pulling back there. Clean Spark pulled back also. Tesla. Still waiting for you, Tesla. Can you go red for me? All right, starting to get a little bit of a leak back in Tesla. All right, starter on in Tesla here. Want to hold it to a tight risk here, about 30 bucks. It's coming down fast here. It might trigger my stop to add at 409. Once it adds, I got to go ahead and start being break even. Only risking about $1.50 here now. If it cuts me out, that's fine. I'm just going to look to come back in with about 150 shares. So either it flushes down here and I start to get deep into the green, it cuts me out, that's fine. Just looking for a re-entry near that first entry, which is around the 410s. Starting to cut 409 again here. Starting to see the Qs start to break a little bit. I'm going to take a starter there, guys. Not a starter, decent size, 100 shares. It's looking good. I just needed to start getting into the green here now. Taking my shot on the dragon that is Tesla, of course. How we doing out there, guys? It's good to see you guys in the chat. Good to see different names out there. My man, Day Trade with Tony. Shout out to you, my friend. I wish you the best. I hope you heard some good news out there. I'll just say that much. CADL. Currently short since 12. I like it. I like it, my friend. I like it. Here's Tesla now, starting to look a little bit better here. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I just did, which was I was break even, right? Like I wasn't going to let it come back on me. Same thing here with Tesla. It's too big of a position here. Let's see if it really works. When Tesla works, I don't have to stress about it. That's what I tell myself when I trade it. When it works in your favor, it has a tendency of trending, and I got to wait for that move here. Coming back on me a little bit here. Just watching for the rejection on the 409s. So we went below 409 to 408.80s there, 408.60s. I'm looking for the rejection here of the 409s, because if not, it can come back to the 410. All right, if we can get another move down here below the lows, I'm going to start setting the stop break even here. That's what I'm looking to do here. I just needed to start going back through that 408.60 here. Here's a nice rejection into the 409s. Let's see if the 409s break, and it bounces right off of that. So looking at it now, it's at 409.40s here. Starting to come back. I might come back to the 90 MA and then reject there. So I'm getting the squeeze right now. So you just got to be careful with that. Could still get squeezed out of this. Got to be careful with the squeeze through this 410 here. Q's right back to the highs, so we could come right back up here, guys. So just got to be willing to let go of it, if anything. Getting squeezed a little bit more here. Now the move right back down. Now right above that high is going to be my risk, $90 here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what happens here. Now getting a little push there right towards that level here. Now getting a little squeeze above that. Needs to reject here, and I'm setting the stop. Setting it here. It could hit right through this. There it goes, right back towards the highs. So getting out of that one with a hit there. Still available to me to take one more trade. And that's the idea there. I'm trying to take those 100 hits. I took 100 in the green, and now trying to nail it down in the long run. That's all that matters to me if I get the bigger move there. So the key is the spot. The Qs are going sideways here with a bunch of chop, and at any moment it could turn to the downside. So that's what I'm seeing, at least. So I'm just going to continue waiting now for the Qs to give me the sign instead of me jumping on Tesla. So another thing could be is the VIX shooting off here, and you're already getting a little lift there. I like this VIX trade here also because you're seeing that kind of push, but the Qs haven't really broke. So that's just one thing to think in mind. And I think this is one to think about, right? So headed to my hourly money. Good luck, folks. Hey, go get that hourly, baby. Can't blame you at all. It's good to see you guys out there. AMPG, Steph. 209 to 240s. Nice little break back to the upside. Couple spikes, reloads on volume around the 170. And it looks like you might have gotten a little reload there and some $2 break, but $2 break again, that's a little tough one to kind of hold on there. BAAR, another name that's going up in the smaller names. So just to mention another one that's moving there. CADL at $10 now. Shorting from that 12 was a nice little move there. Day trade with Tony. We'll see if it keeps breaking down. It's now at a longer term support, 990s. Can it break that? We'll see. Q's still slowing down, but not much there. And I'm glad I got out of Tesla, like I talk about, right back to the highs. It went right back to the highs. I've seen Tesla do this before, and then it breaks the lows. So I just got to just be patient. That's the number one thing, is being patient here with Tesla. Here's the Qs starting to break a little bit there. So that's a good sign for me to start seeing the VIX get the jump. And that could be a trade too, right? It could definitely be a trade. It's just more if I want to play the VIX or the Tesla. I don't want to play them both right now. The VIX has been tough to play as of late. It was on the playbook though. Palantir came back up, now starting to turn back to the downside. We'll see what happens on this one. I kind of like the VWAP fake out fade on this one, where it's trying to show you a up move through VWAP, fails on this attempt, and then breaks through the 70. So yeah, Palantir still looks good for the short. All right, 1050 guys. We'll see how this one works out here. Just taking a look at both sides of these kind of trades. They're pretty interesting trades overall. Palantir back and forth here. Disney kind of going back towards the VWAP. Boil, guys, boil. So we're seeing natural gas make a move. Where's wisdom when you need them? MSTR. Nice little pullback on that one. We'll see if it catches the hourly long pullback on the VWAP there. Clean spark. Can these come back? They could still come back, guys, and just start to rip to the upside. I'm really just watching the Qs here, because if the Qs rip higher, then we can just continue ripping all day long. It doesn't have to turn. Clean spark could come right back up there. We'll see what happens on that one. Mara right on the VWAP also. So you got opportunities there to play those if you want to play them to the upside. BTDR is also pulling back near that VWAP. There's Palantir trying to make that breakout, and then here would come the fail attempt right back down. So we'll see what happens here on the Qs. I'm just watching the Qs mainly there. A lot of volume coming in there. Let's see what happens. Tesla breaking to the upside there. So blow off top could be coming in. We'll see what happens. I mean, that would be a big turn. Lulu going to turn into the downside there. I'm just looking around to see how the other areas in the market are doing. Some cyclicals are holding in. That's why I'm watching some XRT to see what's doing up there. Macy's bouncing back today, guys. That thing bounced back all the way to 1584. So big bounce back there in Macy's. GameStop still holding in there. So it's not moving much, but it is holding in well. We'll see if it can keep pushing. Ulta is one that I talked about earlier today. Can that make a push? It's holding well. There's Palantir now doing that rejection looking style move here. Let's see if it happens where it starts to break down from here. I'll take a small trade on here in Palantir just to try it. Watching the Palantir there, got in there, guys. 70.33s here. It's 10:53, guys. About to wrap up the day here, but not bad action there. Palantir now starting to come down. Looking good in that Palantir. Let's see if Tesla can actually break today. Q's finally giving me the sign there, guys. Now they're giving me the sign. Now I'm going to go after Tesla one last time. They say strike three and then you're out. Let's see what happens here. Short a little bit of Tesla there. Just did the starter, the 50 shares. I want to add a little bit here if we get closer towards the high. Why not? You need to go watch Palantir also. Palantir going to set a stop right above the recent highs. $70 in risk in that. Now I'm going to go off of Palantir, look for Palantir to stay in the green here, and then just focus on Tesla. Looking good on that cut down on Tesla here now. She could start to break down a little bit further here. All right, looking good here on Tesla. I'm going to give this one last time to get back into the red there, and then I'll look for the big hit there in Tesla. Palantir, I'm going to probably hold it break even now. At this point, it should kind of make that breakdown. Watching the action on both names right now. There you go. Good action there on Palantir to the 70-17s here. Could still bounce though. Q still leading down. SPY now starting to break a little bit. Palantir doesn't want to break right now, so I'm thinking it could get a little bounce back towards the 70-30, 70-40s. Tesla getting in deeper into the green there now on Tesla, so I'm ready to add on Tesla here. All right, just set a limit add on Tesla. Trying to add there on the short side of Tesla. Break even on Palantir now. Looking to see if Palantir could break the 70s now. If it comes back on me, I can always just get back in. That's the way I look at it, and I think that's just the best way to approach it a lot of the times when you think you're getting a momentum move. But like always, you guys can test that out for yourself. Tesla trying to break down here. I'm going to put the limit a little bit above it here. Put some pressure. All right, good starting to break there. Q's still weak here. But it's still not breaking. That's one thing that's holding me back, and that's why I'm still looking for any bounce there in Tesla to add, but up here, up on the move, not above it, not below it. So what I'm looking at is the Qs. Can we get some continued breakdown there? See how it slowed down a little bit. I want to see another ramp up, a bigger bar. So big bar like it was on this first move. All right, so see if Palantir can break 70 again. This is a big watch for it now. It's at 70-10. It went down there to like lower 70s. Bouncing back against me here. Good rejection on that bounce there, and Palantir now going to go break even here. Break even there. It could come back and get me. That's fine too, but I'm just trying to make sure that I give myself the ability or chance to get this breakdown here in Palantir. All right, it's coming back on me. Might get me out right here. Moved it slightly to risk about 10 bucks. Tesla rejecting a little bit there too, but the Qs didn't break down, and that's the sign of concern there. So at this point, you got to be ready to stop, break even, and if anything, get right back into the name. So I just stopped the limit ad there on Tesla, willing to get out and get back in. That's what I need to be doing until the breakdown, the real breakdown happens. A lot of times you'll get stopped out, plenty of times in between that. You got to be willing to do that or go smaller so that you can give yourself a bigger range. Same thing here for Palantir, out on both there. So didn't take much of a hit there. Took 15 bucks on the hit. Now focus back towards Tesla. Let's looking at the Qs and looking for signals for it to actually break. If it does break down, it'll show me that signal. MU could be one to watch on the recovery here if we start to get another breakout to the upside. So just stating on that one doesn't mean that we're done for the day. We could just go into a bullish day. So 100 recovery on Micron still available right here. There's Palantir right back down here. I'll try to get in on the break of the 70 this time. All right, guys, 11:01. I'm getting out of here, guys. Time to wrap up the day. Steph, what's up out there, guys? Michael Katz should bring him on. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Mitch, looks like the trade ideas did not renew Michael Noss's contract. He would be a great addition to TTP. He is great at swing position trading. Yes, I know Michael Noss. Michael and I talk all the time. So I'll tell you one thing. Swing traders, no other swing traders. So Michael and I know each other very well. He does a great job, great coverage. So definitely looking forward. I'll bring Michael on. I could bring him on just myself, right? And Michael Noss is awesome. I agree, guys. He's did very much like what I like to do. CMT into stats. And if anything, a little bit even more. That guy has a really good website also that I know he's trying to push forward. So definitely check him out. I still give him mad love. Love my man, Michael. So take care out there, Michael. If you're listening, a lot of love for you, man. Finishing the day, green 800. First 2 days of my new 160 eval in the green. That's great, Jorge. Exactly what you want to do. Now, the number one thing that I would tell you, Jorge, to keep you in the green is also have the mentality that it doesn't have to be every day green. What's more important for me, and maybe you think about it, is being green for the week. So now I'd look at it as, hey, I'm up 800 for the week. What's a good goal for the week? Is it maybe $1,000, $2,000, right? So that I have a goal. If maybe I get to that goal, I can maybe just wrap up the week, because that's what some traders don't do. They hit their goal of the week and then they keep trading and lose that money right back down. If we hit the goal for the week and that's a good goal, then we could also just give ourselves a pat on the back and take a little vacation, right? At the end of the day here, guys, I'm always going to try to tell it to you guys the way that I know trading at the top, right? I want to wish you guys the best of luck. It's great to see Jorge really pushing in his eval. Of course, he won in the competition. And there's a lot of other traders. Day Trade with Tony talking about how he's doing good in his. And keep pushing, guys. Check out the limited deal that we have right now. That's the one I'm trading here and going to continue battling throughout the day. Palantir now coming back to 70.19. I'm ready to get in on this bad boy. We'll see if we finally do get the breakdown in Palantir. All right, we'll see what happens on that name. Can it break down through the 70 spot? That's what I'll be watching. But look how Micron's coming back up. So that tells me more and more we could have a bullish day. Stay careful out there, traders. AVGO is another one that was ripping to the upside with this move. So it tells me more and more some tech names are doing well. Google could probably continue. We'll see what happens on those. Like always, guys, stay safe out there. There's a lot of trades going on, and I wish you guys the best of luck. And that's why I always tell you guys what I see. I'm wishing you guys the best out there. Yeah, see a lot of love in the chat. That's what it's all about, man. It's like, Mitch, what you see is what you get. Exactly. That's what it's all about. That's what you're looking for in the trading space. You're looking for traders that just tell you how it is. Don't tell you that things are going to be, butterflies and rainbows. The truth is, life's not butterflies and rainbows. But if we can stay smart, stay in the zone, we can do this, team. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Definitely smash the like. Like always, keep trading out there, traders.